wonderful person who devoted so much of his time and help to Icon that we could not do without. And it's to someone who really deserves much praise. The presenter is Carl Fink, and he'll be presenting it to someone who was on, who's been a great friend of Icon, Bob Greenberg.
Gary said that Bob was a big friend of Icon. Bob was a guest at the first Icon. And he's been coming regularly for some 3 decades now. But he's done more than just come and make appearances. He's contributed to our programming, not just ideas, but hours of his life. And no representative party thank you, which this is another part of. And he's also kept going one of the most popular programming items we've ever had, what you call the trailer park, the Hill trailers. Bob supplies the trailers, gives the commentary. Personally kept that going and made it one of the most popular things we have. And that's only a small sample of what we owe him, but we're short of time. So with no further ado, thank you very much, Bob.
In 1971, when I was about 13 years old, friends of mine were starting up their first convention, and they were showing me the floor plans, they were telling me all about it, and I said, I want to help you. And I was a volunteer at what became the very first creation convention. Then I became a member of the professional community, and was invited as a professional guest to be at the very first Icon. And I like being able to give back. I like being able to help out, and anyone who's in a position to do that should, because this show has grown from being just in a handful of rooms at the Javits Center, taking over half the campus. And
you know what, Monday I would say
it doesn't happen on its own. It happens through the countless hours of the committee, the countless hours of people we've just honored previous to me, and it helps when the guests themselves can contribute to make the experience as best they can. And it's been a pleasure to be a part of all of that and to see it grow and see it prosper. So thank you very much for this.
Thank you very much. And of course we have many wonderful tracks here at Icon. Icon always had a distinction of looking to so many different areas that people enjoy and that people learn about science fiction. Oh, the balloons are loose. And including everything from authors to media to anime. I think we have a tremendous and wonderful variety here. And so we have a number of plaques that are handed out in that honor. And the first of those honors will go to our author, guest of honor, David Weber, and our presenter is Dr. Charles E. Gannon. Come on up.
Well, so I give you not just David Weber, guest of honor, but a question. Why? Why this man for this award? Oh, sales no doubt play a part. David Weber certainly straddles the science fiction field like a colossus. But let's not forget that while the power and let's not forget that while the power and quality of his prose were there from the beginning, superstardom was not. Because before there was the Honorverse and his other sagas, there was the Starfire series. And as I learned from his then collaborator on that series, Steve White, when they started, the future was anything but sure, and their status anything but lofty. To paraphrase Steve, I'll never forget our first book signing after Insurrection came out. He knows the story. We were first novelists at the time. Con organizers called at the last minute and asked if, given scheduling problems, it would be all right to add 2 other authors to our signing. Sure, we responded. Who are they? The answer was, unknowns like Lois Bujold and Roger Zelazny. I'll leave, and as Steve writes, I'll leave our reaction to your fertile imagination. Steve all over it, So, of course, if the situations then were to be reprised now, my guess is it would be Lois and even the late, great Roger Zelazny who would be dismayed to share a signing table with David, knowing full well who would have the longest line. Seriously, though, those long lines at David's signings indicate one of the reasons for his success. Boy, I'm going way outside the margins on that one.
You realize my wife can't do me.
Yes, yeah. Is the car ready? Can I escape quickly? Thank you. Okay. And those long lines are the measure of the narrative pleasure he has delivered to his fellow human beings. And a large part of that is due to his authorial gifts, which enable him to weave a tale incorporating many narrative delights, as you know. Action, mystery, intellectual challenge, emotional poignance, and that singular and captivating sense of wonder that is the hallmark of any great science fiction fantasy book. And certainly those narrative qualities alone would generate a large, loyal fan base. But considering the singular magnitude of David's career, I suspect there must be at least one more magic ingredient. And no, it's not cell phone. And I'm pretty sure I know what it is. Heroes. I told you I wrote this before all the stuff we've been talking about last 6 hours. Now, when I say heroes, I don't mean protagonists. I mean heroes. People who, in the face of crises, not only talk the talk, but walk the walk of integrity, justice, and doing the right thing, even, perhaps particularly, if it has terrible consequences for them. Because, contrary to the frequent misuse of the label hero these days, real heroes do not act for their own benefit, but to ensure the safety and well-being of others. Now that may seem trite to some folks. It certainly flies in the face of the literary critics who assert that all authorial voices are derivative and popular fiction is merely the opiate of the masses. And I have the academic credentials, check my bio, to add a significant word to that discourse. And that word is, does anybody want to guess what it is? Bullshit. There are heroes. There is sacrifice. There is meaning in action and word alike. And David Weber has found the core of that meaning and made it the crux of each of his many stories. And because of that, we owe him not only praise for his professional accomplishments, but thanks for elevating and celebrating heroes, both in the worlds he has made and therefore in this one as well. So, for crafting characters that encourage us to believe that we too can rise to the most challenging occasions in our own lives, I give you a truly deserving guest of honor, David Weber.
Chuck, it's still only 20 bucks. Okay. Yeah, I know. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to come over to your house to play. I'm not sure exactly where to go after all of that. I try to tell a good story with characters that people are going to care about one way or the other. And I try to give good value for the time that people will invest in reading the story. But I have to say, looking out across this room, that there's only so much a writer can do, that it depends in the end on the readers. There's not a single human being in the world who has ever read a single book that I've written. Instead, there are people who have read the book that I wrote from their own perspective and from the values that they brought with them to the book. And so if there's something in one of these books that seems to touch some sort of human greatness, where it came from is from the reader looking at the book and recognizing something that speaks to the greatness in him or in her. And I've always felt that writers in science fiction and in fantasy are particularly blessed in the quality of their readership, in the loyalty of their readership, but also in the criticality of their readership, and in their readership's willingness to embrace their work and be loyal to it. So while I am very grateful for Chuck's many kind words and occasional faux pas, and while I am extremely grateful for this plaque, I am more grateful for you people. And not just because you're helping put my kids through school.
Thank you very much. By the way, I just want to say a big thank you to the people also who put this, before I get to the end and everybody forgets about it, thank you to the people who put this lovely banquet together, Beth and everybody else here. Thank you very much. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I just remember that year that food was taking a long time and Harlan Ellison was there and he ordered out for pizza. Anyway, but it's a wonderful thing. Next up, we have a presenter for the guest of honor for media. We actually have two guests listed here, but I'll bring the presenters up one at a time. The first guest of honor for media goes to Paul McGann. The presenter is Ken D'Alessio.
Well, it's my first time being here at the podium in front of everybody talking about media. One of the things that I think makes our department special is that actors and writers and directors and producers carry our dreams. All of us as science fiction fans are imagining and dreaming and hoping and thinking of the future. And actors represent people who deliver it on screen. That inspiration allows us to go out and invent things like iPhones and all these wonderful things that we never thought would happen. It all came from science fiction. The gentleman that's standing next to me is one of those people, and he is an actor that has very generously come here at a very rare appearance. So I'm very grateful for that. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Paul McGann.
This is the first thing I ever won. Where's my mum? Now, where's my mum when I need it? Just when I thought the welcome couldn't get any warmer. Is that just me? Maybe I was hearing it. Anyway, the welcome just got a lot warmer. Thank you so much. I'm really touched. I'd like to dedicate this to Sylvester McCoy. And he said, you've got to go to Icon. He said, in its own small way, it's the best of the conventions. And he was right. He was absolutely right. So this is to you. So, God bless you, wherever you are.
Don't fight over the plaques. All right. Okay. There's also another special guest of honor in media here. Then, of course, that's our Nana visitor. And the presenter is Katrina. Will you come on up?
Hi. As a woman who's a fan of science fiction, you know, we're not quite so much, but have always been in a little bit of a minority. And my first time up here, much like Kenny, but he asked me to present this because it was a personal milestone for myself to be able to have someone that we can look up to that is a strong female character in everything I've seen her do that I love. And I would like to thank very much for joining us tonight as the Nana visitor. Yay!
So much in what this convention does, sending the message that through the imagination and through the avatars that we are, you find inspiration for what the future is going to be. And I am so thrilled to be a part of this, and I am so honored. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. All right. Next, we're going to have a plaque honoring the guest of honor in the anime track, who is Bill Rogers, and the presenter will be Sarah Dorchak. For you. Nora who? Polkover. Oh, Polkover. Oh, Nora. Oh, yeah. Here you go.
I hope that you'll settle for me. I'm the track leader for Anime Guests, and Sarah's been the director. And the obvious first choice for guest of honor was Bill Rogers. He's always been very supportive, always had a smile on his face, a lot of fun. And as my first year being track leader of Anime Guests, he's been very friendly, very helpful, very patient with us. And, you know, he was just the obvious choice. So this is for Bill Rogers.
Thank you, Sarah. But in all seriousness, thank you, Nora. I really appreciate this. And I don't think Sarah was able to be here tonight. A great deal of thanks is also in order to her. The anime guest relations have been wonderful, as has the staff of the convention itself. I actually have a very close connection with Icon because when I was an awkward little teenager, I had gone to my first Icon. It was my first convention, genre anime or otherwise. About 10 years ago, I started working in the anime industry, and Icon was the first convention that invited me as a guest for their anime track. We've been doing the convention for 10 years now, and it's just been a phenomenal thing. And this is the first time that I've been given some sort of plaque or award or anything from any convention that's been recognized. I just wanted to say real quick that the industry itself, we owe a great deal of gratitude to pioneers like Amy Howard Wilson, who was Nova in Star Blazers and a dear friend of mine, one of the other great guests at our track. And like I said, staffers, I've been working with Cindy Sengalov, Cindy Hand. I will always be Cindy S to me, honey. But thank you both for so much on both the anime industry and the Icon staff end of things. Thank you all. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. First discussion of plaque, I feel like it's dental commercial. In any case, moving right along, there's so many tracks now, it's very, very exciting. In the very beginning we had, you know, very few tracks. I think we had tracks like Human. But for the next track, we have the Innovative Game Design Award for the gaming track. The winner is George Strayton, and the presenter is Kim Z. How about I did? No, I didn't know who was coming.
Sorry,
Okay, I'm excited to be at Icon. It's my first year as a track leader for gaming guests, or any track leader for that matter. Okay, first award is the 2012 Innovative Game Design Award. Being an avid RPG player, there were a bunch of games that came out in the last year, but for me, like, one stood out more than the others. My friends, anyone who knows me, knows that I am a huge old school D&D player, and I don't particularly like the recent additions. So that being said, when I came across The Secret Fire, I was extremely excited. The game's framework is basically built upon, like, it has a hint of earlier traditional D&D, but it also incorporated a lot of things from old school through all the way till recent times. So it has an aspect of like every kind of gaming system. One of my favorite is the. It also it gives you a chance to be able to create a very unique character. One of my favorite aspects is the alignment system. The player not only chooses a starting alignment, but they have to assign personality traits to each of the alignments. One for good, one for neutral, and one for evil, because it makes the person more realistic and like a real person. Because no one I know is actually a truly good person. So, I mean, when you say that you're like lawful good, come on, like everyone does something bad sometimes. So, another aspect is there's a character wheel, and basically, as the characters go through adventures, they call upon they're called the Elder Gods. And it either benefits them or can harm them. And as it goes on, you color a wheel, and it makes your character more unique, and it draws upon the different gods. There's also trademarks, which help you make a unique character, and it makes you personalize it. So you become like, it's not just a person on a page, a character on a paper. You actually like make choices that allow you to like actually create something that you can call your own. Anyway, I highly recommend this to anyone who is a fan of RPGs, and that being said, I'd like to give this year's 2012 Innovative Game Design Award to George Street.
If I go over the 30 other elements of the game.
Yeah.
No.
Your elevator pitch.
No, I'm not going to talk about my game. I'm going to talk about just one thing, which is the community of science fiction and fantasy people have meant, everything from authors to readers to, people who put on conventions has made a difference in my entire life. I started out as the son of people who, were blue collar and really worked hard to make their way in the world and wanted me to go to school and be a CEO or a doctor or a lawyer. And in the end, I didn't do any of those. Got into game design, which was really high paying. But I went on, from there, I went on to doing screenwriting and whatnot. But I would not have done that if I hadn't encountered Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid, like 9 years old. So I really want to dedicate this to E. Gary Gygax, who is truly the innovator of our
You again. Now to present the Lifetime Achievement Award to Cam Banks. Once again, succeed.
One more, and then I'm done, I promise. The 2012 Lifetime Achievement Award for Gaming is being given to someone whose passion in fantasy led them not only to become a game designer, an editor, and also an author. He is currently a line developer at Margaret Weiss Productions. Those of you who, like me, may be a huge fan of Dragonlance may know him because his work has appeared in almost a dozen Dragonlance themed source books. He's also been published 3 times in Dragon Magazine. His work on the bestiary of Corinne earned a Silver Emmy Award in 2004 for Best Monster Supplement. His first short story, Chain of Fools, appeared in the Dragon anthology Dragons of Time. And his first published novel, it's the volume 1 of Tracy Hickman's Anvil of Time. Tracy Hickman presents Anvil of Time. It's called The Sellsword. Aside from his contributions in Dragonlance, he's also been involved in the design and editing of many licensed products. Universal Serenity, Battlestar Galactica, Dead Gentleman's Demon Honors, the CW Supernatural and Smallville, TNT's Leverage, and the most recently, which was just released, Marvel Heroes Heroic Role-Playing Game. This is why, obviously, throughout all of these things, I am giving the 2012 Lifetime Achievement Award in Gaming to Ken Banks.
So give it up for Kim, who's her first year. She's been doing fantastic. Thank you. Kim has no idea how good she is because she's been very quiet about this. But the whole convention so far and the ones I've been doing in the past have been amazing and very, very gracious and very, very helpful. It's not normal for someone like me. I come from New Zealand and we have a cultural problem with sticking your head above the crowd. It is called the tall poppy syndrome, because the tall poppy gets his head cut off. So we like to sort of tell everyone else how wonderful they are and how the group is great and everything else, but if you stick your head up too much, you get in trouble. So one of the things I've been doing the past 15 years in the States has been to try and overcome that, because my wife, who is American, says, you should just go up there and say thank you. I'm like, well, people help me do this and people help me do that, and I still will do that, because I believe firmly that I wouldn't have got to the place I am now without people like Margaret, without people like you guys here giving us this kind of recognition, when really at heart all of us are just geeks who love things like movies, TV, gaming, and the stuff that goes with that. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Perfect. So there's only 8 more plaques now. Down to our last one. And it's for the fill track, and it's the plaque for the guest of honor, Dave Weingart. The presenter's gonna be Harold Stein, but before you say anything, I just want to say that I know our guest of honor well, because he was actually assigned to me as my first roommate at Stony Brook as a freshman back in 1981. So so now that I've embarrassed you, please come up, Harold. And present the guest of honor award.
Yeah, I know. What do you think I had of the challenge?
I hope so. Okay, Melly, okay, normally I'm on the other side of the microphone, handling things, trying to make sure everyone else sounds good. Dave Weingart, who is actually one of my predecessors as a film track leader for Icon, he actually made a film, I think, until about Icon 10, about that ranch. When I was attending Icon as one of the members, like the young kids now, that's when I came in, I mentioned. He's been recognized as intertilt guest over the years, since California about 10 years ago was another convention, Toastmaster for another, also has a number of songs, been nominated for the Pegasus Award, which is the film equivalent of the Hugo. I think he nominated, I don't think he won things. No. No, he didn't.
Always a bridesmaid, never a
hey, hopefully he'll be on the ballot eventually. Yeah. No, it's actually still nominated for this year. But Dave is also an old school filmer for the community. He's somebody who I want to recognize and acknowledge for this stuff, because I've enjoyed listening to him for numbers of years and I want to share it with everyone else here. Dave, thank you for coming out.
So I'm just going to wing it. I've been involved in Icon on and off since Icon 31. It's about 30 years. I missed Icon 1 for some reason, but I have t-shirts for Icon 2, 3, 4.
What's the Icon 1?
That explains why I don't have it. But it's all fandom school stuff. It's been my home since I've been a college student, a long time ago. You know, as a builder, as a gamer, as a reader, So all of you people who create the things that I write songs about, thank you very much. I couldn't do it without you.
Thank you very much to all of our guests, all of our presenters, all the people who help and work so hard to make this possible. And your reward as being here at the banquet is that you all now get cake and coffee. So please don't run away. Wait for your cake and coffee. And again, thank you so much, because without you, there ain't none of this stuff. So thanks. Enjoy the rest of the convention and have a good day.